Behold, the word of the Lord on high! Hail, Rome!
By Zeus, what did this mean?
The symbols are backward.
This sequence makes no sense.
They told you the Bible was complete. 66 books, final, untouchable, sealed by God Himself. But that story isn't true. For the first 3 centuries of Christianity, there was no single Bible, no universal agreement, no final list. Instead, there were dozens of Gospels, prophecies, letters, and ancient scrolls. Many of them read aloud in churches, copied by hand, and believed to be sacred. And then, many of them vanished, not because they were lost, but because they were removed. For nearly 2,000 years, an entire library of biblical history has been missing from the world. Stories powerful enough to reshape faith. Teachings dangerous enough to threaten empires. Texts that revealed a Jesus far more complex and far more human than the one most people were taught to know. Tonight, we are opening the vault. This is the true story of the forbidden books of the Bible, and why powerful men didn't want you to read them. To understand what was erased, we have to go back to the year 325 AD. The Roman Empire was collapsing from within. Civil wars, economic chaos, rebellions everywhere. But one movement was growing faster than any army: Christianity.
Fresh olives and the finest spices. Come and get them before they are gone.
The problem? It was completely unorganized. Every city had its own scriptures. Some churches read from the Book of Enoch. Others followed the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. Some believed Jesus was fully divine from birth. Others believed He became divine through obedience.
By Zeus, what did this mean?
The symbols are backward.
This sequence makes no sense.
By the gods, what does this mean? It contradicts everything.
The translation is impossible.
These calculations are completely flawed.
There was no single truth, only interpretations. That terrified Emperor Constantine, because Constantine didn't just want unity in faith. He wanted control.
By the will of the gods, we are victorious. Hail, Rome!
So he summoned hundreds of bishops to the city of Nicaea.
Gloria in excelsis Deo, et in terra pax hominibus bonae voluntati.
What followed would shape history forever. Legend says the bishops placed all the sacred scrolls on an altar and prayed, and that the false books fell to the floor while the true ones remained. That story is a myth. The reality was far more dangerous. This wasn't a holy gathering. It was a political battlefield.
We have to move now before they return. The patrols are increasing.
I told you this wouldn't work. It's suicide.
Quiet down, both of you. They'll hear us.
Votes were
betray the
cast.
teachings.
Alliances
Lies.
formed.
I follow the truth.
Arguments erupted.
Brothers, cease this. We must unite.
And when the debates ended, a decision was made. They created something called the Canon, a Greek word meaning measuring rod. Anything that didn't fit the measurement was rejected, burned, buried, branded as heresy. Not because it was false, because it was unstable. Some books showed Jesus as too human. Some gave women authority equal to men. Some suggested divine knowledge was meant to be found, not controlled. Those books were the first to disappear. By the time the councils were finished, what remained wasn't the full library of early Christianity, but a carefully curated collection designed to bring order to chaos and power to those at the top.
Behold, the word of the Lord on high! Receive with faith.
One of the most shocking and texts is the Infancy Gospel of Thomas. In the Bible, you know, Jesus is born and then vanishes for 30 years. But in the forbidden texts, his childhood is anything but silent. Here, Jesus is a boy of overwhelming power, able to bring clay birds to life with a word, to heal the sick, to command nature itself. But he is also learning. In moments of anger, he strikes down those who challenge him and then brings them back. Why was this text banned? Because it showed a Jesus who had to grow into his divinity, not a figure polished and perfect from birth. And that idea was unacceptable. Then there is the Gospel of Mary. For centuries, Mary Magdalene was reduced to a sinner, a footnote, a warning. But the forbidden writings tell a very different story. They describe Mary as the closest disciple of Jesus, the only one who truly understood his hidden teachings. In these texts, the other apostles argue with her, question her authority, resent her leadership.
Woman! You have desecrated the temple with your impurity!
She must be punished according to the law.
Because if Mary was the true successor, then the entire foundation of male-dominated church power collapses. That book didn't just challenge theology. It challenged hierarchy. So it had to go. Most people don't realize this, but until the late 1800s, nearly every Protestant Bible contained 14 additional books. They were called the Apocrypha. These texts filled the 400-year silence between the Old and New Testaments. They told the story of rebellion, resistance, and survival. The Maccabees, warriors who fought against empire. Judith, a woman who saved her nation through intelligence, not force. Wisdom literature that shaped Jewish and Christian thought for centuries. So why were they removed? Not by Rome, not by emperors, but by printing societies to reduce costs and align theology. With a financial decision, 14 sacred books vanished from millions of homes, quietly. For centuries, it seemed the church had won. The forbidden texts were gone.
And the Lord said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God." But these words are missing. Let us continue.
Until 1945. Near a cliff in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, a farmer digging for fertilizer uncovered a sealed jar. Inside were 52 ancient texts, the long-lost Gnostic Gospels, books so dangerous they had been buried to survive. These writings taught that divine knowledge lived within us, that the material world might be a prison, not a gift. That salvation came through awakening, not obedience. Ideas so radical that anyone caught with them faced death. Now they were back. Today, the forbidden books are no longer hidden. You can find them online, translated, accessible, waiting. Yet the fear remains. Why are we still warned away from the Book of Enoch? Why are these texts still called dangerous? Perhaps because they remind us of something uncomfortable. History is written by those who survive. The Bible we have today is sacred, but it is not the whole story. The forbidden books reveal a faith that was once diverse, debated, and alive. And now, for the first time in history, you can read it all. The question is no longer what was hidden. The question is, are you ready to look? If you want to explore the book of Jasher, the secrets of Enoch, and the texts that almost rewrote Christianity, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because history is only forbidden if you choose not to open the book. Was the Bible edited for unity or for control? Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm reading everyone.